No one likes a surprise of like, oh, I guess this costume just doesn't fit. That's like such a like a depressing feeling because even I've had that where I order it from like
Amazon.
Amazon. You're just like, wow, this is a child size costume and it's not gonna fit me.
That shit be blowing my way. Before we even get to cosplay, like I'll buy regular clothes from Amazon and I'll put it on, and I'm like, I know I didn't order a tube top. Like this is not what I came here for. Now, like you ever seen Hey Arnold?
Yeah.
So like
Oh,
Harold with the fucking shirt, and it's like, bro, I look nuts right now.
I knew exactly where you were going.
He's not a fat man, he's a fat boy. Like, come on, bro. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to yet another episode of Air It Out, brought to you by your gracious host Vonnie here at Hubtaku. It's a beautiful day. I don't know what I did. I was gonna lie and say I paid my taxes, but I probably didn't. No, I'm kidding. I did do it.
Yeah, they're coming for you. They're on their way.
We're not even here to talk about taxes and all that. We're here to celebrate a real one. We're here to celebrate some amazing shit. And we got a little announcement between the two of us that we're going to get into later on in the episode. But before that, I want to know who I have the pleasure of speaking with right now.
Hi everyone, my name is Mylia, also known as Fly Hinata, and I'm the founder of Lumikha Cosplay Resale.
We talking about Fly Hinata. You want to know what's fly? Let's talk about this flower crown. Let's talk about the, like, bro, come on.
Peep it.
Like you see it, bro. Like, are you cosplaying right now, or what is this?
Yes, I'm cosplaying Basil from Amore. I have a plushie of him right here, you know.
You know what's funny? Amore is one of those ones that I still have not yet had a chance to sit down and watch, but like it's definitely in my list of things to check out.
Yeah, it's a game. It's a RPG Maker game. Yeah.
It's a game.
Yeah. You're probably seeing like the little animations that sometimes people make, or like there's like a manga coming out soon.
So you telling me the whole time that's not an anime?
No, they're like little cutscenes in the game that have like really beautiful animation, but it's a game.
My life feels like a lie right now, but Can you tell me more about this? Like, all right, so it's not an anime; it's a game. Is this like a I don't want to say a dating sim, not that, but like, what is this? Is this like an RPG or what?
It's an RPG Maker horror game, actually. So you know, it looks very cutesy, right? Like you know, see, he has a knife.
That is the most dead-eyed look I've seen ever. That shit is crazy. I respect it.
No, he looks a little like he's got something wrong with him.
I see it now. I see the flower crown.
Yeah, so
I see it.
My twin.
Walk me through this though. Like, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of things that I don't even know if they games or shows anymore, but there's a lot of things that I keep seeing on the internet that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna check this out. That was one. There's this other shit that everybody keeps talking about called Has Been Hotel or something like that. I need to check out.
Yeah,
there's a lot of these.
New TV show that came out on Amazon, and that was originally a pilot. So that one's I watched that one. So.
Is it good?
I liked it. I thought it was fun. It's a little controversial, but I think you know it has some good humor and good music. So
we love the good humor. We love the good music. But tell me more about the horror RPG though.
So Omori is a RPG Maker horror game created by like Team Omocat, and the game is basically about without spoiling too much, a boy who has to process grief and kind of like lives in his own like dream space,
It just clicked. I'm so fucking stupid. I know this one. They play this shit on Twitch like all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. It's a pretty popular game, but
you want to know how much of a dumbass I am? Now that I put one and two together, the game that I thought that you're talking about now, I thought that shit was like Deltarune.
That's like the opposite of Undertale. Like that's my other favorite. That's one of my other favorite series. Undertale.
Really?
Yeah.
Bro, who's your favorite Undertale character?
My favorite Undertale character is Mettaton. You can't see. Wait, hold on. All right, so you're just gonna have to believe me. I'll send you a picture, and then you can like edit it in and show my wall. I have an entire wall of Mettaton prints like on my wall. Like that's my king.
So. My favorite Undertale character, like I'm not too well versed. Like I've seen a lot of Let's Plays on it. I've never actually played it.
Oh, okay.
My favorite character is Who is Shorty with the my god, she's running at you with the sight, the
Oh,
spear. And
Undyne.
Undyne is the Undyne and the little like crush that they got on each other with
Yeah,
the
with Alphys. Yeah,
yes, man.
they're good.
Oh my
We
god, bro.
love the
Like
gays. We love them.
we do. We definitely do. I want to walk it back to you real quick though, right? So like this show Air It Out, the first thing we always do is we have a topic called Air It Out, which is the very first thing. And that is allowing you the moment to speak on any one thing that you like. It doesn't have to be like a smear or anything. It could literally say, I love Mettaton so much because X, Y, or Z. Or you could say, I just read this last chapter of Lore Olympus and I feel X, Y, Z. Or it could be anything about anything. I want to give you the space to talk about that.
Okay, so since I just broke my, my camera talking about Mettaton, I really think that he's an inspiration to me. So let's set the tone with it. So Mettaton is this robot who gains this robot body
Mm-hmm.
because he's a ghost, but he wanted to like become like beautiful and become like a star that everybody can look up to, and he inspires the monsters of the underground.
Right.
And I really just like love his vibes. He like does all these fancy poses. He's just like all about the glamour and the glitz, and like I just really love those vibes. But also he has that really like humble side where he like wants to help other characters. And he helps the main character along the way, and even goes out of his way to like help another character to kind of feel better about herself. And I just like love that about him, and I love the color pink, so I'm just like he's everything to me. And his theme song is like one of my favorite video game tracks of all time, which is called Death by Glamour. And
He's Death by Glamour.
he's Death by Glamour, like that is Death by Glamour.
Yo, my favorites, Death by Glamour is gas, Another Medium is gas,
Yeah,
Stronger Monsters is gas,
yeah.
Megalovania is gas, bro. Oh my god, bro.
Like
I didn't know that
Undertale
was
has
him.
such good music. Yeah, yeah.
Shout out that man Toby Fox, bro. He put his whole heart and soul into that. No
For
pun
real,
intended.
for real. Like I love like keeping up with Toby Fox's work, and he's put out a couple of songs like collabing with other artists recently, and like yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite video game composers of all time. So I really like respect and appreciate like what his work, and just like the story of Undertale in general is like kindness and empathy, and like learning how to approach problems from like a non-confrontational like standpoint, and just like in video games in general of like how we don't have to have conflict, and we can have conflict without having like violence
Yep.
in video games. And I think that that's like such an important story to tell, not only for like children, but also just like adults, because I feel like we need that too, right? So I just love Undertale. I could talk about Undertale all day, but yeah, it's one of my favorite series for sure.
It's like I love what it stands for. I love watching all the pacifist runs that people do.
Yeah,
I again, like I mentioned, Undyne, and how I'm a big sucker for romance just in general when it comes to like my media and things of that
yeah.
nature. Um and I think one of the things that you actually just said that kind of struck anoint with me, anoint, whoa. I was gonna say a nerve and a chord, but it kind of just like yada me. But in a good way, you mentioned that Metaton essentially like helps everybody a lot, and he's there, he services people, he's making sure that he's for the people. I know somebody else who does some stuff like that, and they have a company called Lumikha Cosplay. So I'm wondering if this is the perfect segue, maybe if we could talk about that a little bit.
Whoa, me like Metatime? Oh, you stop. Well, yes, I have a cosplay resale business called Lumika Cosplay Resale, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's a secondhand cosplay marketplace where cosplayers can buy and sell secondhand costumes. And yeah, I really saw a need in the community for making cosplay more eco-friendly, and just making it cheaper for us to access costumes. And for me, I was spending a lot of money on costumes, and I often wanted to buy secondhand, but it was just kind of like really scattered or difficult to buy cosplay secondhand. So I saw that in Japan they actually have secondhand stores in person, and so I was like, well, it would be cool if we could have that here. I mean, I can't run a physical shop right now,
right now.
let's think about that for the future. Any
Mm-hmm.
investors who want to, help us out with that. But we can do e-commerce right now. We can do an online shop, and so that's what we have. And we have 3,500 users right now, which is really really cool.
Lot of people tapped in, 3,500 people that said, you know what, I'm not buying this wig new because it don't make no goddamn sense when somebody has this same wig that they utilize and only wore once or twice, and they probably clean, so it's cool. So like, let me go shop with them instead on their side and do it. Like,
Exactly.
being you're kind of really a pioneer in that sense, because I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of it personally. Like, this, the minute you told me about it the first time around, I was like, it's kind of a great fucking idea. Like, what made, like, at what point did you hop up and say, yo, I'm doing this shit, I'm making this, I'm buying the domain, it's time for me to go?
I think that it was shortly after I got back from Japan, and I was sitting around just thinking like, wow, I really like I actually like bought a couple of cosplays from a mutual on Twitter, and I was like, okay, that was kind of lucky that I found that costume, but like if I wanted anything else, like I would have to comb through so many Twitter threads, and I was just like, this is just not it. Like we can have something better. And I think that for me, when I see a problem, I just want to solve it. Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm the solver, I feel like. And so I just was like, all right, well, let me just like come up with the idea. Let me, make a beta and like just talked to some people. I did some like survey and did research and just talking to people like, hey, do you even think this is a good idea? Would you use this? Because I'm not about to, like waste money on something that no one would use. And actually, a lot of people were like, no, this is a great idea. I'm surprised we don't have this already. Like, this is awesome. So I was like, all right, you guys are gassing me up. So I guess we'll go ahead and launch. And it was great. We came out of the gate and had like 500 people sign up just within the first day. It's 24 hours, and I was like, all right, we're on to something great. And so ever since then, it's been just like a snowball effect, and more people have been signing up like every day. Like we've had like a couple signups, so it's been awesome.
It's a perfect time for you to bring this up. Granted, like, unfortunately, I think we're about to miss MomoCon, which is coming up already, but there are a couple cons down the stretch that are popping out. You got the Anime NYCs of the world, the Dream Cons, I think Otakon is coming up soon.
Mhm.
A lot of these that are anime week in Atlanta, like, there's a lot of these places that's coming up that folks is going to need cosplays, and it don't really make sense to go and buy some new stuff. And not only that, can we talk about also how people of my size, like fat people, like having to try to navigate and find something and going through a website where you're really not that sure if it's gonna fit, when you can buy from somebody who it's already trusted and true, they've worn it, and y'all might have the same body type.
Exactly. That's
Like
one of the big things of Lumika is like you have to put in the exact measurements like of the costume
mhm,
in order to list it, because so often people will just post a picture and like selling my Bakugo cosplay. What's the size? Do you have pets? Do you
mm,
smoke? Like is it stretchy? Like what kind of fabric is it made out of? Like what color is it actually? Like maybe they only posted one photo, and like on Lumika you can add multiple photos. You have to say whether you have like pets in your home, whether you smoke, like the exact measurements. So it makes it a lot easier for people with like very specific needs to like actually
yep.
navigate the website. And also no one likes a surprise of like, oh, I guess this costume just doesn't fit. That's like such a like a depressing feeling, because even I've had that where I order it from like
Amazon.
Amazon. You're just like, wow, this is a child sized costume and it's not gonna fit me.
That shit be blowing my way. Before we even get to cosplay, like, I'll buy regular clothes from Amazon and I'll put it on, and I'm like, I know I didn't order a tube top. Like, this is not what I came here for. Now, like, you ever seen Hey Arnold?
Yeah.
So like
Oh,
Harold with the fucking shirt, and it's like, bro, I look nuts right now.
I knew exactly where you were going.
He's not a fat man, he's a fat boy. Like, come on, bro. Like, save me from this shit. But it's good to know that we got Lumika right here that's actually doing that type of work in the community, so that I don't gotta run into that anymore. Um Yeah, I really think that being able to have secondhand shops in other areas, like seeing a Lumikha booth in like a mall or seeing it somewhere like on a strip somewhere would be absolutely phenomenal. And I know that
Yeah.
that's going to happen down the stretch.
That would be cool. That would be so cool. Like I would love to eventually like open some sort of like pop-up market like in DC, because that's like what kind of where I'm based. And there are a lot of like cosplayers in the DMV area. So I'm like, this is something that could potentially happen. We just have to get the word out more about the business and like having more people join in, because the more people that sign up and list their cosplays, the bigger of a marketplace it is and the more people can find things. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's just all about like growing it right now and getting the word out.
On your point, on a point of like conventions and things of that nature, we were
Mhm.
talking. Can you tell me the top 3 cons you've been to? It
Top
doesn't. It doesn't have to be like in total because I don't want to separate from that, but like it could be that con in that specific year.
Mm, I think I think Anime NYC is actually probably my favorite con. It is like, I would say, a really well run convention. Like I think that because the way that they like grew over the years, like they
Yep.
use the space really well, and it's never. I see those pictures of Anime Expo, and
Oh
like
my
it's
god.
never it's I have never experienced it being as crowded as I've seen those photos. Like yeah, sometimes in some areas, Artist Alley, Dealers Hall, it does get a little tight, but like
Mhm.
not to those levels. And like the industry guests, the panels, like the cosplay meetups. I actually got these two autographs from my favorite like Japanese voice actors
Ooh.
just last November. From Idler 7, and I was only able to get
Oh,
that, yeah, because of Anime NYC, and so I love Anime NYC, so shout out to them.
bro, Anime NYC, first and foremost, you're right about the whole space aspect. I've done Anime NYC for a few years now, and every time I go, I never feel like, oh, this is a waste of time. I always feel like, all right, well, there's enough space for me to move and maneuver and go to certain places. And I live in the artist alley because I'll be blowing money like a dickhead when I go there.
True. You see
But
my prints. You know I'm a fiend.
bro, but like I've even their sister con that's in Texas, Anime
Little
Frontier.
Frontier. Yeah, I've
That one
never
was
been.
it was great, bro. It was spacey. It didn't feel like everybody was on top of each other, but it was still good enough the way they were acts there. Like when we went, we had Chainsaw Man's the voice actors and voice
Oh,
actresses
cool.
there. Like it was fire. Um,
Yeah.
I think they do a really good con. I think they do a really good job of how they facilitate those items. It's funny to me how you mentioned at Anime NYC was the one because I'll be honest, I did some research on you and I wanted to speak to you being a young Victorian lord if you had the time.
You're talking about me cosplaying CL Randomized from Black Butler.
Mm. Can you tell the listeners a little bit more about that story? Even though it's on your YouTube, which by the way, if y'all don't, make sure y'all subscribe to Mylia's YouTube.
Yeah, I can tell you. So, yeah, Anime NYC, rolling up to convention security, and the guy is like, "Oh, what are you supposed to be?" And I just had this like really, really awkward expression on my face, and I'm like, a young Victorian lord." Like, I don't know why that's what I said. Yeah, I love Black Butler. It's funny because I was between cosplaying Basil and cosplaying CL today. So you would have asked me, that would have been the
Ah,
cosplay.
close. This close.
Close. It was close. It's literally back there. But I was like, so I have my contact lenses right here. And then
Mhm.
this one I didn't wear to Anime NYC because it came a day late. But
Yeah.
it's like his cool insignia in his eye. But I was like, you won't be able to see it in the interview because I'll be wearing an eye patch over the contact lens. So no point. So you missed the young
I
Victorian
missed
lord
it.
today. I'm sorry. Maybe
Hey,
next time.
I relive it every time I watch that YouTube video though. And it's funny because in that video, you was also talking about like having to go through the metal detector with the bags and
Oh my
shit,
gosh,
like and the
yeah.
pens. And it was like, nah, I can't be the pens. Like that shit was funny.
Dude, they were literally shaking me down. I'm like, I don't have anything. Like, I have nothing else on me.
Like, listen here, Miley, you sure you ain't got a gun on you right now? Like,
Yeah,
bro,
they're like, dude, this young Victorian lord strapped.
mm, I know I know how it is getting down in the Victorian era. Let's talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Um, bro, it sucks though having to always explain like when you speak to regular people maybe isn't the best word, but when I mean by regular people who aren't like dressed in cosplay in that moment, like having
The
to speak to them about like what you're wearing and explain the
yeah,
shit, even if it's not anime NYC, like that feeling sucks. Like how often
yeah.
do you go through that?
I would say kind of often.
Mm-hmm.
Just like my friends and I, we're like a little bit like immune to people like asking us questions now because sometimes we just like go to the mall like teenagers and get into cosplay and just walk around for fun. And people stop and they ask questions, and they're like the respectful people who are like, "Oh, like you're in costume, like what are you doing?" And then there's like the assholes who are like, "I thought Halloween was in October. Wow, you're so creative. I've never heard that before. Some guy didn't just say that 10 minutes ago." So it varies. I think that it's worse when like you're on your own, like, and there's someone who approaches you and asks something like, I've had that happen, and that's why I always like advocate safety in numbers. Like, never travel
Yep.
by yourself. Because like when you're in a group, you guys can like kind of clown on a regular person who's trying to be weird, but when you're on your own, it's a lot more intimidating. So I think I just try to like brush it off, and if I'm in like cosplaying a character who I feel like can be like my shield too,
Yep.
then I'm like, I'm just that character. I'm just Deku right now. Like, you're bullying me. I'm a little teenage boy. Like,
It's like, fam, we in this mall right now, minding my black ass business, doing what I gotta do. I'm just wearing these clothes and you coming up trying to say shit and being funny. Like, I don't want to have to beat your ass, but like I will do it if I need to.
right. Like, I'll
Like,
call my
come on.
dad all night. Like,
Bro, it's like six of us right now. We will jump your dumb ass. Fuck is you talking about? But listen, we walk a righteous path, we walk in the almighty path, just like All Might.
we do.
Um, my thing is like, how do you build the confidence to be able to go and like, I know you said it's strength in numbers, but there's still a level of confidence you have to have in that sense.
Yeah.
And this is coming from somebody who like is working on their confidence to be able to do that type of stuff.
I feel like I know this is like really like cheesy to say, but it is really like fake it till you make it. Like if I say like I feel confident, like I feel like I look cool in my costume, like I'm dressed in something that either I made or I worked really hard on my makeup or I styled my wig in a certain way that makes me feel proud and feel good about myself. Whether or not these people like appreciate that is that I cannot control that about them, but I can control the way that I let them make me feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing for me is just like being able to be comfortable with myself and like know that I put in this effort so that I could appreciate myself more and like love myself. And those people they don't matter because if they're not going to appreciate me, then that's fine. But it's easy to say for sure, and I think that it's something that is like learned over time, and it's practice. Like I go out and cosplay, and I've been doing cosplay since 2015. And when I was first going out to cons and like people would have come up to me and ask me questions, I would like freeze up and I wouldn't know what to say if they made a weird comment. They would come
Yep.
up to me and say, Korra is the worst avatar out of all the avatars. And I would just be like, doesn't know what to say. But if I cosplay Korra today, I would have that Korra energy and be like, you did not say
You
that.
did not just say that.
So I think it's definitely like a learned skill that takes time.
You're a better person than me. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I respect everything you stand for in that sense. If I was dressed as Cora and I'm walking down a block or walking through the con, and somebody comes up to me and says, you know, Cora isn't the best avatar, da 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 da, I'm looking them dead in his face and saying, this is not gonna make me want to fuck you. So I'm sorry, bro. You can go. Like,
Like, how did you think your comment was gonna come across to me? Like, was that
like,
gonna help your
oh,
game? Like,
oh, you're so dreamy. Oh my
oh,
god.
you insulted me.
Ah, no, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, I've
Um,
had my share of creepy guys trying to make like weird comments that like I feel like are supposed to be like lighthearted or playful, and it just comes off as creepy, and I'm just like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. One of my favorite stories, personally, and maybe this was me being a jealous boyfriend in a sense, but the other co-founder, Hubtaku Tammy, was dressed at DreamCon as Chun Li, and this dude was like, hey, "I want to take a picture with you." He's dressed like Ryu, and I'm like, "That's fine," but he was like, "I want a picture of you kicking me with your leg up." I was like, "Nah, bitch, we're not doing that. Now what? Like, now my leg going up. What we doing?
Yeah, what do you think about that? You don't
What's
want my
up?"
leg?
And I'm in there. I'm dressed as I don't know if you know Parappa the rapper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm in it, bro. I got a fucking microphone in my
Don't
hand,
want to mess with Parappa.
dog ears. Like, yo, bro, we could rap right now. What you want to
Rap
do?
battle right now.
Hey, Kendrick ain't the only one who dropping diss tracks. Fuck is you talking
Right?
about?
This man on the con floor is about to get destroyed.
Man, that reminds me. Have you seen? That reminds me of God. There was a show that I watched not too long ago. It was Odd Taxi that
Oh
everybody was
yeah.
talking about, and that was one of those ones where it's like I kind of started wanting to build. Like, I don't know. What I'm trying to get at with this is the anime that I watch, wanting to cosplay and wanting to do things and like implement those into a lot of these con circuits. The ones that aren't as big known as a lot of folks. Odd Taxi is actually pretty popular, but like it's not as popular as the Dragon Ball Z. It's not as popular as the Sailor Moon or something like that. But I still want to be able to bring those to the forefront in cosplay. And I think the catalyst for me personally was when I went to, this was again Anime NYC, I think it was. Somebody came in dressed as this one manga, Oyasumi Pun Pun.
Oh,
and at that point I was like, I'd never in a million years thought I would see a cosplay of that. And to this day I wish I would have got a picture with him.
Yeah, like, I've been meaning to read it, but my friend was like, "Oh yeah, you need to be like in somewhat of a mentally stable place to read that manga, just so you know." And I'm like, "Well, guess I'm never reading that manga."
It's good. It's worth the. I mean, I'm a sucker for it because one of my favorite shows of all time is BoJack Horseman, which is another one of those where it's like you kind of need it's gonna hold a mirror up to you.
Yeah, it might hit you kind of hard.
Yeah, like the question I was getting at with this is like, what are some, I guess, more obscure cosplays that you're looking to really don and really bring out into the forefront, say sometime in the future, that folks just might not know about?
So I cosplay a lot from Idolish 7, which I feel like is very popular in Japan, but not so popular in the US. It's like kind of gaining popularity, and I love idol costumes because you can really add the glitter and the rhinestones and like all those fancy trims. So I really like that series, and so I want to cosplay more from it. I really like RPG Maker games, so I do want to do like more like Omori cosplays. I really like Hodoful Boyfriend, which is it's a bird dating sim. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's like a pigeon dating sim, which sounds crazy, but
it does. But it sounds so fun.
But it's really fun, and the story is like surprisingly deep. And so I want like a full cosplay group. Like I got some of my friends together to do it for Anime NYC, but like I want a full flock of like pigeons. So
I'm noting that down right now. I'm letting you know that. Hodoful Boyfriend?
Yeah, Hodoful Boyfriend. So that one is like a 13 or 14-year-old visual novel that kind of started the trend of games that subvert your expectations. So kind of like Doki Doki Literature Club, and Hodoful Boyfriend was kind of like one of the blueprints for games that are like, oh my gosh, this is just a silly bird dating sim. Oh my god, it's actually serious. It's kind of like that.
Like,
one.
Oh, this is deep as shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to do some like obscure indie games. I'm big into indie games because I work in like the indie game industry. So I want to do more indie games.
I'm glad you said that because that was actually going to be the next point that I pivoted towards, was those indie video games.
Oh, great great segue.
When you say you work in indie video games, what exactly do you do in that field?
So right now I do like a lot of freelance community management and social media work, helping with communications on indie teams. So previously I worked on Sushi Ben, which is a VR game.
You worked on Sushi Ben?
Yeah.
Holy shit! No, 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 no. Sushi Ben, bro. I've been stalking that game for like the past months now.
With like the
Seeing the
hot lady like stepping on
lady
the
walking
side
on the
and
guys.
back.
That shit, yes. Yo, I didn't know you worked on Sushi Ben.
Yeah, so like so the writer of the game is the writer of Hatoful Boyfriend. So I basically got to work with like my dream like visual novel like author,
Are
which
you
is really
serious?
cool. Yeah.
Bro, the first of all, with Sushi Ben, they did the video of Shorty having like the guy is the
On
bike,
the
I think,
bike.
and it did the Akira slide. At that point, I said, "This is gonna be the funniest shit ever. I need to play this game." I'm a sucker for that kind of style because I love the Mega Man Legends style of like low
Yeah.
poly 3D personally. But I didn't know I didn't know you worked on that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that he did How to Full Boyfriend as well.
Yeah.
Wow, hold
Oh yeah, yeah. So the writer is Hato Moa, and she worked on Hatoful Boyfriend, and then
on.
Dima, he hired Moa to work on Sushi Ben for
Sushi
the
Ben.
writing. Yeah, so they kind of collaborated, and like to work on the story for the game. And I came on in around like April of last year, and I helped with like the marketing, running the Twitter. I set up the Discord server. I helped with the launch campaign back in October, and so right now we're just like working on the flat version of the game, and we're racking up a lot of wish lists on that. So I'll hopefully be starting work on that again in the coming months. So yeah.
I'm letting you know now. One of them shits is definitely me because when that game come out, I need that like I need air. That game was
Yes.
so fun.
Yeah, it's really fun on the Quest. Like I loved playing it in VR, and I don't play a lot of VR games. Pretty much the only VR game I played was Beat Saber.
Oh
But
yeah,
like Sushi Ben was just like so much fun. Like if you think about the fun of like Wii fishing or like playing the Wii sports, like it has a lot of that energy, but in the VR space and with those interactive manga panels. So that game is so much fun. I only work on games that like I believe in and think are fun and would play. So yeah, I'm a Sushi Ben advocate and believer. I mean, it makes sense. I'm the community manager, but yeah.
I'm a hater because you actually got to play the fucking game. Oh, no, that's so fucking cool though. Like what I also wanted to ask was like some of your favorite just indie games either out now or just like that have come that I don't know you hold I don't want to say your Mount Rushmore per se, but
Mhm.
some of the ones lately that are like, all right, you need to be playing these games. Like there's no way you shouldn't have this in your Steam or have this in your whatever your system is.
That's like so hard. There's so many good titles. We talked about some of my favorites already, which are Omori, which obviously
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot. I'm cosplaying it.
Mm-hmm.
Really love Undertale. I'm really big into like the pixel kind of horror games. Um,
Is Everhood kind of like that too or no?
Everhood. I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
I just seen something that said Everhood and it looked like pixelated and it was colorful. I don't know
Oh,
much about it either.
and it was like kind of horror-ish.
Yeah.
I like what is it called? I suddenly can't remember any game that I've ever played in my life. You know when like someone asks you like, "Oh, what's your favorite food?" Like you're like, "Oh, I can't
You're
think of
like,
any food." I don't
Friday?
know. We have to pull up the Steam. Like,
Yeah, we pulling up the Steam. Let's see, Steam.
oh, I don't know if you've ever heard of Monster Prom. That one is
Tell me
like
more.
it's basically like a multiplayer like dating sim. You're like battling to go to prom with these monsters, and they're like monster baddies. Like you're, and then you like complete little quests at school, but you're trying to like go against your fellow like friends who also might want to date the same monster that you want to. And so basically it's like a dating sim party game. It's actually really fun.
That sounds fun as hell. I'm not gonna hold you.
It's a lot of reading, but I think it's really fun when you get together with friends who like to do voice acting because then you can like voice act all the characters. That one's
I'm
fun.
noting these down too. The one that I was thinking about was called Frog Gun.
Frog Gun.
It was done by this guy named Molgato. He did one of those. There was that, and the other one was I think the studio is called Studio Pixel. They have this game called Unsighted, which came out like a couple years ago.
Hmm.
They're working on a 3D low poly game right now that looks crazy. Now, Frog Gun is cool in the sense that it's like a platformer that has like a bit of speed run aspect to it.
Mhm.
that gives me this reminder of like an N64 vibe when I play it, but also it doesn't feel like it takes itself too seriously. Um, it's a grand time. It's like a really great time killer as well. And the guy is like very nice from what I saw online. He's a very nice dude. I even tweeted him once, and I think he was nice about like responding back to me. So I know those indie devs be going through a lot with the people. Like y'all all go through a lot with just like the way that people kind of are desiring these games, and they keep pushing like, when is this shit coming out? We need this. We need more. We need more. And then like you working on a social media side, I know you getting the brunt of it.
Yeah. When are you gonna add this feature? Like, when's this coming out? You guys announced this game 5 years ago.
This glitch.
Stuff happens. Yeah. Oh, I have this glitch. I'm falling through the floor. Okay, we know. We're working on it. I told you that last week.
It's like you're playing on dial-up, bro. How did you not think that was going to happen?
Right. Like, did you try turning it off and turning back on again? Like, that's only happening to you. Like,
they be having like 80 tabs open, fucking OBS in the background, making a laptop. That shit is on fire. Right. You playing on a laptop, and you're like, why is this not streaming properly? I don't understand. And it's like, well, maybe you might need better hardware, buddy.
They like send you the specs, and you're like, oh, so you're playing on like a sandwich. Oh, so, I just remembered. Supergiant. I love so many of the Supergiant games. Hades 2 just came out.
Ring the bell.
Yeah, Hades is the one. It's like it's a roguelite with really great music. I'm big on game music, so that's really good series. And the early access for Hades 2 just came out. So check Hades out if you're not familiar with it.
I just did my Googles.
Yeah, they have a lot of great games from that studio. So I'm a big fan of Supergiant.
You mentioned that you're really big into video game music. What are some of your favorite OSTs of all time?
All right, so I'm a big Nintendo girly. So I'm really excited about Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door coming out next week.
That's next week?
It's coming out on the 23rd. So like, that's Thursday. That's this week.
I thought we had a couple months until that shit was coming out.
Nah, it's kind of soon. So I need to get my streaming stuff ready because I really wanted to stream that one.
Oh, man. My favorite about 1,000 Year Door, bro. Like, that game was so fire. Doing the wrestling shit with the Yoshi and stuff.
It's so cool. Like, mind-blowing moments.
I'm sorry. You were saying about your favorite OSTs.
Yeah. So 1,000 Year Door, it's just like such a nostalgic OST for me. There's like so many great tracks in it, and I often like listen to it when I'm just like working. And I really enjoyed the Omori soundtrack. That was in my top 100 last year on my Spotify. Undertale, I listened to a lot of the Undertale music, like I mentioned. I haven't played any Castlevania games, but I actually really enjoy the mix of like metal and like orchestral music in Castlevania. So I need to get around to playing one, but Castlevania music's also really, really good. So and Animal Crossing, always good for like the chill vibes.
Man.
And out. Yeah.
Yo, KK Slider doing numbers on my fucking Spotify. I'm like,
for real.
Absolute numbers, bro. Like
top 10 artists. Like
I remember in the first Animal Crossing game when this is one beat, I think it's called KK Cruising, you were able to get.
Yeah.
And they had like a one of it that was kind of rap wise, and I remember going and putting it in my room, and every time I walked in, that would be the one to play. And it felt like I was listening to a Tupac song for whatever reason. Like, you couldn't tell me shit.
I need to re-listen to KK Cruising. I'm not gonna be able to unhear that now.
I was singing it right now, but I know I'm gonna fuck that up, and I'm not giving the audience the satisfaction. Yeah, like on my side of the fence, if I had to think of like favorite soundtracks from video games, Sonic is gonna go up there, of course. I mean, Sonic. I feel like Undertale, of course, we had that conversation earlier. I'm a sucker for like the old Sega Genesis sound. So, like a lot of those, like the older, like I forget the actual the Yamaha chip that they used for it, but a lot of that just that grimy like like
Yeah.
that little upbeat, you know what I mean? I don't know. The Streets of Rages, the Shinobis, the all of that. Those I'm a sucker for, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But Super Mario 64, of course, is one of those ones that had a great
Yes.
soundtrack as well. Although I will say, depending on the actual level of the sound, that shit will invoke nightmares for me, but that's beside the point.
Like that's me with the ocean sound, the doo doo doo.
Nah, bro, absolutely not doing it.
That's nightmare fuel. Like that sets me off. Like even just thinking about it.
That fucking eel.
The eel. That's
Yo,
literally what I thought of.
absolutely not, bro. Nah. You want to know? There's a two-part point. The first one is I hate going into Boo's mansion or Boo's haunt and then going in the basement and you got the little spinning thing. You
Oh
got the
yeah.
little like
Yeah.
no, not doing that. And also there, you know how like they mod a lot of games and they put patches and shit out online.
Yeah.
They have this one, I forget the name of it. It's like Super Mario B something,
Mm-hmm.
where it's supposed to be, because allegedly the way it works is for Super Mario 64, everybody remembers it a certain way, or there were specific cartridges that everybody had that was different from one another. So
Mm-hmm.
there were like differences in the game. So a lot of people have like a Mandela effect for what they remember the actual game to be.
Right. Okay.
So like a lot of people remember like specific rooms that Bowser had and specific things that really never happened. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody made a game mod where it reflects a lot of those things in the game.
Oh, that's cool.
And that is some of the most unsettling shit I've seen in my life, because there's also horror aspects of it in there too that like bro,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be the first to admit I'm absolutely pussy when it comes to things of that nature, bro. I'm sorry. I'm
Me too, to
scary.
be honest.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I love the idea of so much horror. Like I love like horror games in theory, and then I'm like, all right, my girlfriend's gonna play. Like I'm gonna sit here like this. Like I want to see, but I don't. I don't want to hear the screaming. I don't want to hear the loud noises. Like
Nah, bro. Like puppet combo games and shit, I absolutely love watching people play them, but me playing it, no, not doing that. Not a chance. I want to jump to the anime side real quick for 1 second
yeah.
too. I want to know if you were left on an island with one anime series that you had to watch for the rest of your life. You know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'll give you three. Three
Okay.
anime series that you could watch for the rest of your life on this island. You fully refrigerated with the food and all that other shit. You're good, but like anime wise, it could only be these three. Which ones you picking and why?
Okay. I feel like I'm gonna sacrifice one of my spots to say One Piece because I've never seen One Piece before, but it's
Mhm.
so long that I feel like I would have so much content to make it through. So it would be like it would be actually new content. And I know that One Piece is a good series because so many people that I love and trust actually really love the series. So I feel like that's a series that I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna be put onto this series that all of my friends who are not trapped on this island with me loved, so now I can watch it. So One Piece is gonna be for the culture, so I can have some enrichment.
Can I say
Um,
something really quickly?
yeah, go ahead.
Fuck One Piece. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm
Like,
joking.
wow, controversial. You're gonna cut that one in the first 5 seconds of the video.
Nah, my favorite thing to do is shit on One Piece because everybody loves it. I haven't fully finished it yet. It seems like a swell gal, but we'll see.
Yeah, I started watching the live action. I liked it so far. So I was like, I'm a Dragon Ball Z girly, so I feel like I would like One Piece, but One Piece is just like 10 times as long as Dragon Ball Z is. So
That's
I'm
a
like,
fact.
that's a big commitment that I
That's a
don't
big
have time for
right.
right now. I'm gonna say there's so many that I like. I go back and watch, and I'm like, oh, that was really good. But I just like love watching new stuff. So honestly, being trapped with two anime that I loved might actually be torture because then I'm like, this is all that I can watch, and like, cause I only rewatch things maybe like once every 3 years. So I'm like,
Okay.
what am I gonna keep? Okay, so I think Code Geass because that is like one of my favorite anime.
Mm-hmm.
And it has so many like different elements, like so much different symbolism in the series. So I feel
Yep.
like, I could sit back with a journal and like have like a little literary adventure, like analyzing each and every episode. I'm trying to think of like, the practical sense of this. So, oh, the colors in this, they might represent, his confidence, and really, really taking a literary analyst side with it. So I love Code Geass. Big fan of that. And then maybe like Haikyuu, because it's like it's fun sports anime. My username is Fly Hinata, so Hinata. It just makes sense. It keeps me like when I watched it, I just felt so like uplifted. I'm also very short, so I felt, I feel like a relation with Hinata and his struggles. And I was a tennis player that was short, and my
Oh
coach
wow.
was always like, "Oh yeah, you're pretty short for a tennis player." And like when I watched Haikyuu, I was like, "If Hinata can do it, I can
I
do
can
it."
do it. Yep.
And I also like jumped like when I used to like hit the ball, and so my coach used to call me Butterfly. And so I was like, Hinata, that's like me. So it's like a good feeling when you find a character you can relate to. So I'm like, yeah, I think Haikyuu I'd keep on an island with me too.
That's actually a solid list. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I thought about this for myself, I didn't think about no practicality. I was just like vibes. But
What's
this
your
is
list?
I was gonna say this is a testament to you knowing that, like, bro, you know how to manage some shit. This is why I trust you with this.
I do.
My list is I'm going first and foremost. Sailor Moon is the GO anime. I'm picking. You said One Piece for longevity. My other favorite anime, especially from a longevity standpoint, Detective Conan. Case
Oh
closed.
yeah, I haven't seen that, so that would be another one that'd be a good option.
I'm saying, bro, like it feels like I don't want to say it's the same episode all the time. It's not. They have different cases. They have a lot of different things. Sometimes they might rerun certain instances, but it's still good. Um, the art is vibrant and amazing. The sound that was one of the soundtracks too. The Detective Conan soundtrack is probably one of the top ones I've ever heard in my life.
I need to get into it.
It's good, man. It's a great watch. It's a great read, like no matter how you slice it. And it's still going. It's one of those things that everybody want to talk about One Piece, but like Detective Conan is still going and has a really big following in Japan.
Yeah, it's very popular in Japan. When I went, there was just like Detective Conan makeup, Detective Conan sodas, like just lots of just random Detective Conan merch everywhere. I was like, oh yeah, it's pretty popular over here.
I don't wear no damn makeup, but I will put on some wings if it's Detective Conan made.
Yeah,
I'll walk in this bitch with some blush. Now what?
I forget the main character's name, the one with the glasses. It had his like
Conan.
face on like Conan, with like the little it was really cute.
I feel like I need that not just for the sake of using it, just because it's Conan.
Just to have it, collector's edition.
My last one, and my controversial opinion, I always say that everybody gives Cowboy Bebop the flowers for this show, and it deserves flowers, but I think that this one was better. Personally, I'm running with Outlaw Star.
I've never heard of that one.
It came on Toonami around the same time, and it's just as good. Personally, I think it's better. The big three of like the space pirate anime is Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, and Trigun.
Yeah,
so like,
Trigun, yeah.
Everybody talks about Cowboy Bebop. You hear a lot of people talk about Trigun, especially with this remake, but Outlaw Star is there waiting.
Outlaw Star, I'm gonna write that one down.
It's so good, bro. The characters are just like so memorable. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It's beautiful to watch. Like it's just a fun watch. It's 26 episodes of just like pure bliss.
The characters are fun. I like the character designs a lot.
The characters are designed very fun. Like everything about it is phenomenal and solid.
I love it. It's definitely that old 90s style, but it's like very nostalgic, I feel like.
Yep. The only other one I probably would have said, not including those two, is the greatest sports anime of all time, good old Ice Shield 21. That nobody ever talks about, but I mean, you know.
I know. One of my best friends loves Ice Shield 21. He's been trying to get me to read it. So I need to get on that.
Yo, bro, it's 333 chapters, and actually, yeah, I mean, but it's like 19 pages a chapter. Like,
okay.
But also they finished it, and they also did a one shot called Brain X Brave.
Mm.
Brain Brave or something like that, which is like a 50 something page, just another thing to kind of push it on because it's the 20th anniversary, I think, of the show. But yeah, no, the I Show 21 agenda needs to be pushed when it comes to anime. I'm tired of hearing about Kuroko's basketball. I'm tired of hearing about some goddamn Haikyuu. I'm tired of hearing about Blue
Blue
Lock.
Lock, Blue Lock.
Man, fuck Blue Lock. Now what? That's how I feel.
A Blue Lock hater in here. I see. I see.
I wanna bring it back to you though specifically because we talk about like a lot of your achievements and accolades and stuff that you do. Apparently, you said you were a VTuber pre-pro, and I didn't even know that you were. Can you tell me about that stint and just like where that's come to?
Yeah, yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. So, when COVID happened, I was trying to find a way to like continue having a community and also having a way to kind of like dress up in funny costumes. And so my way of doing that virtually was to create a VTuber, and I played this like princely pink lion, which I feel like very much like embodies me. I'm a Leo, so it like matched kind of my personality, and I would play visual novels. And uh, yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. I haven't been streaming as much like anymore, just because I've been getting back into cosplay and like working on other hobbies and trying to work on my own game projects. So I haven't had as much time to do VTubing, but it was like so much fun when I did it. It was a great way to like make new friends and still connect with the community. And I think a lot of cosplayers found comfort in doing VTubing because it was a way to like dress up, not necessarily be exactly yourself, but still have a hint of yourself.
Yep.
And you could dress up in costumes. You could commission an artist to like draw your character in an outfit or draw it yourself.
Yep.
And so I think it was a great hobby that I had like during the peak years of the pandemic, and streaming is something that I did enjoy, but like the consistency was a little hard for me with like having so many different interests. Yeah, it was a lot of fun when I was YouTubing.
Like with and I'll be honest with you, right now today I have a VTuber account too, so like that's a different side of the fence. Every time I log on, I look at the timeline and there's always some shit going on. It's always some uproar, somebody calling this person racist, somebody doing this,
And it's
this
probably
person,
true.
it's probably true. um when you look at, I guess, the playing field for VTubing and things of that nature for your end, do you feel like that's ever something you would go back to and capitalize off of, or do you feel like that's just a chapter that, all right, that's done, I did that, now let me move on to the next big thing?
I think that one of the big difficulties that I had with VTubing, it was very like not a like person of color friendly space. Like a majority of people who VTube are like pale or they're white, or people tend to flock towards more conventionally attractive VTuber models, which usually aren't the dark skin models. And so my VTuber like reflected me, had the same skin tone as me, and I felt like you know it was really hard for me to like fit in with like some of the other groups, so I kind of had to like build my own community and find my own space. And I think that for me, like VTubing isn't really worth it because I'm like, I already have to deal with like being discriminated against in like my real body
In
and
real life.
why am I then going to do that in a virtual space? So I feel like the VTubing community like wasn't really as welcoming to me as like I've been able to make the cosplay space for me, because I think the VTubing community is just so small. Like it has grown a lot, but it's like nowhere near as large as I think the cosplay community is. And there were definitely VTuber groups like who promoted like POC like VTubers, and they made like VTuber groups where it was like all POC, and that's really cool. But it like sucked because it just felt like, oh, we had to be like POC VTubers, and we couldn't just be VTubers like everyone else. Um, and people would expect you to look or act a certain way, and it's like, oh, like, oh, shouldn't you be rapping right now or something like that? Is like what someone came into my chat and said, and I was like, what does this person mean by that? And I realized, oh, he's saying that because I'm black. I'm like a
Because you're
black
black.
YouTuber. It's like, oh, I see. But people are racist when I'm like in a virtual avatar. Great. Like when I first became a VTuber, one of the first things that I got embroiled in drama with was I was like, I think it's really weird when white people have a black avatar. Like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
it just feels like digital blackface. And apparently that was like controversial. And a bunch of people just started like flaming me about it. I was like, wait, is this not a common opinion? Like, this is kind of weird. We don't do this in cosplay. We shouldn't be doing this in a virtual avatar either. But apparently that was a VTuber hot take, and a bunch of people were saying lots of colorful things to me. And I was just like, oh, what a wonderful welcome. I've been here for 3 weeks. But I didn't let that deter me because I was like, I'm not going to let these people chase me out just because they don't like what I had to say. But, it gets tiring after a while. And if I'm not getting joy from it and other people aren't, engaging with me in a positive way, then it's not really like worth my time. So, yeah, I mean, it was fun. I might go back to it sometime, but I'm also kind of like interested in maybe doing like regular streaming, so that might be a thing. We'll see.
I feel like we need the regular streaming because this flower crown can't go to waste. Like you can't just break this shit out. Like when you cosplay and stuff, I need to see this live when you're playing Omori. I need this live when you're like, you could be live streaming, watching some shit, reaction videos. We need all of that.
I think that would be so fun. I was just like, I feel like I'm not sure if I can dedicate enough time. And I'm like the kind of person where I'm like, if I don't think that I can dedicate enough time to this thing, I don't want to do it. So It's something I'm gonna have to like think on. Like, can I sacrifice XYZ so that I can do this thing? And so who knows? Maybe we'll pull out a little flower crown action.
Are you also scatterbrained in the sense that you do like a bunch of things at one time and you feel like you're putting like water in way too many different pots?
Yeah. That I do that like that, what is it called? The thing where I'm like, oh, if I just dug one big hole, then I would be closer through the earth rather than digging all these little holes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do a lot of different things. And so I'm just like, maybe I need to slow down. But also I just love trying new things. I love like meeting people and getting involved with different stuff. So I'm like, I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. But I need to like take it easy so I don't like burn out. But yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't need to do a bunch of different. Wait, let me walk that back. Maybe you shouldn't feel bad about the need to do a bunch of different things. Maybe you having your hand in all of these facets at one point down the stretch is going to finally reach the end of like the middle of that earth, and you got a lot of different holes that got you there, all of which are relevant.
Yeah.
One thing you said, which kind of was impressive, is that you had your hand in working on some video game stuff on your personal. I wanted to know, like, what other projects do you have down the stretch that we should be looking for? Like, what's next for you?
For me, I am looking to kind of like pivot to working on narrative and doing more writing in games. I am working on like a few game projects. Right now, I'm working on a fan game project for Identity 5, which is a mobile game. It's kind of like Dead by Daylight, and it's the game itself is just a visual novel that I'm doing with a couple of friends, and we're going to be releasing it sometime this summer. So that's coming up pretty soon. I'm also just involved in helping run a few game jams. So right now I'm helping run a game jam, and I'm helping run another IDV, the first IDV game jam, which is happening in July. In terms of like development, I want to start to learn a couple more. I like want to learn some engines so I can really like put in work to like work on my own games. Because I do like helping other people with their projects, but like as you can see with Lumikha, like I love working on my own thing and getting to really explore my own creative vision. And so I have a horror pixel game, buried in my mind that I want to bring to life. And so I think that that's really like the dream game that I want to work on and share with the world. But I need to find the time and like the creative energy that I'm not spending everywhere else to work on my own like dream projects.
So. I hear that, and I think it's fine though. I think it's fine that maybe that horror pixelated game that's in your mind doesn't come out yet, because when you start building up all these skills and getting all these tools, when you finally get to circle around and actually do it, I think it's going to be that much more important and impactful, because you'll know all facets of what's going to make that game that important and what's
Yeah.
going to make that game just resonate with the people.
Yeah, I've had like a lot of experience with like marketing, and also in the beginning of my game dev career, I worked at Code Coven, which is an organization that helps marginalized people get into games. And so I learned from like the early game dev kind of career space that like, oh, here's what you need to get started with working in games, and here are the kinds of tools that you should need, and here are some mentors and resources. And so like along the way, as I've worked in different, diverse organizations and just different studios, I've met a lot of people, which is also a great part of just doing like different things. So yeah, I don't mind taking the slow path to getting there. I've been enjoying the journey, I guess.
Listen, I am thoroughly proud of you, and I'm thoroughly amazed at the foresight to know that you can take that slow path and know that you can still reach that facet. You're racing against yourself. You're not racing against other people. You don't need me to tell you that, because clearly you got a lot of shit going on and it's making sense. So I just wanted to tell you that, bro. We rocking with you in that sense.
Thank you. It's tough sometimes, I feel like, but I just try to like keep my head on straight, and I just like really appreciate all the people who like support me and help me, keep focused on the things that are really important. They're like, you're doing a lot of things right now. Is that thing that you've been doing like still giving you joy? Because if not, then maybe you can like help reallocate that time somewhere else. So it's been good to have those people keeping me in check too.
So that actually leads into the last segment before the very last segment. And I want to talk about, I guess, accolades per se. Before we get into accolades, actually, before we get there, I want to talk about what are some things that you want us to be aware of, or what are some things you want us to tap in with? What are some things you want us to be a part of and support that you have going on right this very second? Like ImmerseCon or any of
Yeah.
these other ones?
Yeah, so I was brought on as the director of cosplay at ImmerseCon, which is a STEM and gaming convention in Richmond, Virginia, and it's a first year con, so that's really cool. I started a convention back in college called KameCon, and that was fun, and it had like 400 people the first year. And my one of my best friends that loves Eye Shield, she started the convention with me. So
I
we
want to say this on record. Can you, this best friend that you have, can you tell them that I appreciate them?
I
Like,
will. I'll
I
send her this. Like,
bro, I stand with this person. I don't know who they are, but another Eye Shield fan, they got a friend in me. But
yeah,
continue.
she's awesome. She started her own like anime clothing business, and that's how I really started going to cons. My little squad of friends, they're amazing. They're cool. So she started that, and I started going to conventions with her, and then so we like learned a lot about the ins and outs of cons while we were like in college. And so we were like, why don't we start our own little con here at University of Maryland? And so that was cool.
Go
um,
Terps.
yeah, go Terps. And so now at ImmerseCon, I've been able to take a lot of that knowledge that I learned when I ran Comic-Con with Kate. She also does VTuber models now. She does like 3D models. So she's I was like, wait, that's also
My Leah, what the fuck?
check her out. Her 3D models are like so dope. Like Eye Shield, 3D modeling, anime clothing. She's like one of the coolest people. I will just
When this is done, you know you have to link me, right?
Yeah, I will link you. I'll drop the links. I'll drop the links. But yeah, ImmerseCon, it's gonna be a really really cool event. The cosplay contest is going to be run by me, and I've got a couple local judges who are going to come and judge the contest. And they're going to give some cool feedback. We're also going to be running a cosplay market for in collaboration with ImmerseCon. So it'll be Lumikha and ImmerseCon to kind of focus on the sustainability aspect of cosplay, which makes sense. And yeah, so we're going to be hosting that, and that's happening in June, June 22nd and 23rd. So Yeah, I'm excited for that because that's going to be like one of the first times a convention is really integrating Lumika as part of like the convention schedule. So I really want to, bring Lumika from just being like at a table at a con to actually being like contracted by the con to say, hey, we're going to host this marketplace and this is going to be a cost, like a feature of the convention that can help draw people in. And so that's my next goal, I think, of really elevating Lumika's presence at conventions. So this spot at ImmerseCon is like the first step, I think.
Listen, we're gonna link ImmerseCon. We're gonna link all of these facets to make sure that people are tapped in. Buy they badge, buy everything, make sure they show up, show out. I think this is a fanatic. Goddamn words. I'm so excited. I can't even speak right now, bro. I think it's a fantastic idea. I really think that this is, like you said, the first step to getting Lumika in those booths and like malls and things of that nature. That's important. That's major. Um, Being able to see it real live and work out on Front Street for people to interact with. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, man, like you got the people who like walk around and you got like these little cosplay like repair stations and stuff. Like being able to integrate all that together to tap in to be able to work. What if somebody wanted to cosplay and they didn't have like the funds or didn't have the chance to be able to cosplay, but then they got there and maybe somebody actually had, hey, we got this cosplay. This might be your size. You might want to go do that. Run to the
Yeah.
bathroom, change, boom. Now you cosplaying, even if it's something small. Like,
Exactly, making it more inclusive and like letting it be more accessible because now this cosplay that was $100 now maybe it's $35 because oh maybe a couple buttons fell off but nothing that you can't fix or
you know,
it's been worn a few times so it goes down in value but it's still just as good, right?
yep.
So that's what it's all about. I'd love that, like that would be the perfect scenario.
It's not even just a scenario, bro. It's gonna be undisputed in a sense. Like that, like Paul Heyman, a person in wrestling, always says, it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. I think that that's the spoiler of your life that's coming up soon. That this is going to be in the wings. When it happens, I'm proud and happy to be able to say that I'm seeing that shit and I see the fruits of your hard work. Um, this is actually going to lead into the final segment of the actual Air It Out show, which is always giving you, the person, the guest of honor, you will, your flowers. And I know you already got them in your head right now, but I got a couple more for you that maybe you might want to utilize. So, um, I think that shit is awesome. Like first and foremost, when you initially we made conversation and stuff with each other, I think me and Tammy, first and foremost, we were thoroughly impressed by everything you had going for you, thoroughly impressed with the way you carried yourself. We looked at your websites and things of that nature and just really like felt like, damn, like you really got everything going on that you need to do. It's impressive. I think a lot of people in this space don't necessarily know how to navigate getting to this status or navigate how to put in the work to be able to get to this point. Like there's a lot of like, hey, I want to do this or I want to be this type of person, but not a lot of effort and growth to show for it. Sometimes it might be their fault. It might be a product of their environment, product of the internet, but a lot of times it might also be a product of them not having that drive or just not wanting to be able to put in the reps to be able to get those muscles so that you know how to navigate and a Lumika come up to play or like, being able to be a director on an ImmerseCon board. You did that though. And I don't know if it was effortlessly. I'm going to say it's effortlessly for the sake of this conversation right now. But like you did that. You worked with your group of friends to be able to make it to that point, to be able to have just a Rolodex of people around you, like a 3D modeler, anime merch team, things of that nature. Like that shit is major. That's no small feat. And that's not something to just scoff at. That's all a testament of those hours that you put in, the work, you having to burn the midnight oil while your
Mhm.
girlfriend is kind of sitting there looking at you, being like, all right, I see you putting in that work. I'm supporting you from the sidelines.
She
They
actually
might
helped design my logo. She's the one who made the logo. And my sister, she actually drew a bunch of the art that's currently on my Instagram. So the people around me, they support with all their creative talents too in so many ways.
so you even in a relationship with somebody who leveling up on their own accord. Like when we talk about winner circles, this is the winningest circle that I done seen in a long ass time.
It's true. It's true.
That shit is major to me, and I can't thank you enough for being able to bring the time to talk about this stuff. For you to be able to bring this type of energy into the, I guess, in just this anime community in itself, like the secondhand cosplay shop, that shit is needed. A lot of people don't have that, and you being able to carry that torch so that folks can do it, so that you can be the one to say, hey, I implemented this shit worked, it was needed, nobody was doing it, then I'll take matters into my own hands. Not that much different from you being able to cut and sew your own work. You cut and sew the lane for so many people to be able to step in and cosplay, and that's not something that should be taken lightly. You should be patting yourself on the back for that. You should be thanking yourself for that. You should be celebrating yourself for that, and you deserve every bit of grace that comes to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. It's sometimes really hard to like, feel like I've made progress because I'm like, oh, I really feel like I should be here by now. But sometimes it's just really nice to hear like you're doing the damn thing. Like, good job. Like, I don't
I,
tell myself that enough. Even if other people do. I like it's nice to hear. So thank you.
Listen, and a cool thing about it is, since we're gonna announce this live, I mean, the fact that we do get to tell you how great you are a lot more consistently, because, and we don't even do this really anymore, just in general with a lot of things in the community. But one, first and foremost, not only are you considered Haptaku certified, let's get that out the way now. We have officially done a partnership between Lumikha and Haptaku going forward, to which they have our support, we have their support. I think we maybe done made it into that winner circle a little bit. Like, maybe there's a little bit of a seat at the table, kind of, sort of.
Yes.
And I can't thank you enough for that. I know you're looked at as a very, very, very prominent person to us, and we're gonna make sure we cultivate this relationship between each other, and make sure just that we cultivate this friendship as well, so that going forward you feel like you get every bit of what you need from us.
Yeah, I'm so excited to like collaborate and work with you guys. Just like when we hopped on that call, like the vibes were immaculate, and I was just like, no, this feels like these feel like people who I think that we're gonna build something great together, and we're gonna continue to like build our relationship and do so much cool shit together. So I feel like felt so good after that call. I like went and talked to my girlfriend and my roommates, and I was like, that call went so good. I wasn't nervous at all. They were so nice.
I'm not gonna hold you. Like, we carry ourselves important in this space, just like you do. But when we got up that call, me and Tammy got on FaceTime with each other. We low key was on some type shit, bro. It was a breath of fresh air. Nah, man. Like, listen, the universe in itself brings people together that want to be able to better up. Iron sharpens iron. You already got like the steelest of sword right now. I'm letting you know that now. We want to make sure we sharpen it as much as possible on our side too. You always got a place with us, and you always gonna be welcome in this space.
Yeah, and I want you to know that like anything that I can do to help y'all, like it's always here too. And you have a seat at the table. Like we're hanging, we're hanging together. Like
Man, all that shit. Let's go, man. What you talking about, man? Um, Malia, thank you so much for being able to do this for us. Like, hop in. Um, the last thing I want to ask you is, where can we find you on all platforms so that we can promote and showcase your work?
Yep. So you can find anything about Lumikha on my Linktree, which is linktree.lumikha. Our Instagram is lumi.kha, Lumikha Cosplay, at Lumikha Cosplay, on Twitter and TikTok, which I need to get better at posting on. And I'm also Fly Hinata on all platforms. So if you're interested in my personal cosplay work, you can find me there. ImmerseCon is pretty easy to find. Just search ImmerseCon. I do a little bit of everything here and there. You can also find me on my game dev Twitter, which is MetaLeah, inspired by Metaton. So that's where that comes from. So yeah, I try to do my little thing here and there, but it's not too hard to find me.
Listen, Lumikha, Mylea, ImmerseCon, MetaLeah, every bit of aspect of that is Haptaku certified on this side of the fence. For us, as always, you can find us at Haptaku, which is HBTKU on all platforms. I can't wait to be able to see you specifically at a lot of these cons. Like, I think you said you're going to Anime NYC.
Yeah, next week Anime NYC, and I think I'm gonna be making a stop at BlurredCon because my sister is selling in the Artist Alley, so I'll be there too.
If I can, that's in May or June.
BlurredCon's in July. It's the beginning of July, I think.
July. Okay, that's not that far. if I can fade it, I might pop out there myself as well. But
Let me know.
I'll keep you in the loop. And for those of y'all that are listening, I want to make sure y'all know you keep your head in the clouds.